um, and I am a business owner. I own May Create Design, mother of two, yogi, creative enthusiast, and Tiger fan. Tigers are the university that I went to, and we're obviously raising Tiger fans as well. The University of Missouri, Columbia. Yeah. And these are all the fun ways that we connect with people online. So in case you need to follow us around, you can do that. Yep, May Create is my company. Hmm. Awesome. Stacy really likes working with you. She's had nothing but positive things to say about you. She's like, we need more people like Molly. She's so awesome. I'm like, that is so great. So today, um, we're going to introduce you to Google Analytics, like what is it, why is it important, and then talk a little bit about how everything is laid out because they recently changed the way that it looks and some things are in slightly different places. And then we'll also talk about the general visitor metrics, which are things that you see all the time in the reports and what they mean. And we'll see where your visitors come from, how they find you, how they use your site. And then from there, we're going to apply that because I really feel like the most useful way to employ this information is to measure your marketing efforts, optimize your performance with it, and then make informed decisions about content and design. I've given this talk a couple of times now, and I feel like what it was missing is the real what does this information mean? Because you see the metrics and I can tell you what they are, but without understanding, hey, this is what this metric means in this report, it's a little bit challenging to get from point A to point B. Alrighty, so what is Google Analytics? It's detailed statistics about what's happening out on your website. And it's not actually aimed toward techies. It's geared toward marketers. And marketers are you. And from there, we feel like you can use this product to help you make informed marketing decisions. Now, there's the free service and there's the paid service. Most people engage with the free service, which doesn't give you everything that you probably want to really make all your marketing decisions, but it can give you a glimpse at what you need, and you can always decide if you need the paid service. most Yeah, most people have the free one. And then, yeah, they just started doing the paid one. I don't know how long ago it was. I started noticing that it was really different out there, and I was like, what's going on? So, how it all works is that they start at your website and get referred there. It could be by a link from an email, it could be a link from another person's website, it could be by searching for your site, but either way, they call that the referrer. And when your website is hit, the Google Analytics code is executed. It communicates with Google's servers. And then from there, the data is accumulated. My dad's a Trekkie, I should say. He's read like all the Star Trek books, and I just thought this was really funny that we have like data anyway. And then Google Analytics reports show you your data. Now, the Google Analytics reports are not real time. They're always running like a day behind or so. So it's not like you're seeing things as they're happening, but they're quite relevant still. I feel like you don't need to see it real time exactly for what you're tracking there. So why the information is important. I feel like websites are one of the most trackable marketing tools available, especially to small businesses. And so you can use these analytics to help you gauge the effectiveness of your marketing activities outside of your website. If you know what they are, if you know what the time frame is, if you adjust some of the things within your marketing activities, you can even track them more to make sure that they're successful and they're actually doing what you want them to do, which is bring you business. Also, with the data, you can optimize the content within your website. So your website may have everything you think is important in there, but what we're really looking for is what engages the viewers. What makes the viewers do what we want them to do, which is generally contact us or buy our products. And then last but not least, we can make informed decisions about the content of the site and the site design by looking at how people interact with it all. Okay, I just had somebody join us, but I don't think she's joined us via audio yet. So I'm going to send out a quick chat and see if she'll notice. Okay. I'm going to make sure that she gets in with the audio. So you run to the ladies' room and I'll wait till you get back, okay? You're welcome. I still haven't gotten her to join in the audio yet. So you didn't need to rush, apparently. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have the main screen pulled up now, so, but she's grayed out. I wonder what's going on here. Hmm. Hmm. Gotta love technical things. I'm gonna chat somebody. Hi.
Hi, did the last lady come in?
She hasn't come in yet, no.
Okay, Jeremy said that she should be in.
She is in, but her vocal isn't in yet. Like, I don't know if she can hear me or not. Um,
I can't find the Google Hangout. If you want to chat me the link or something
okay.
to make sure it's working.
Go, can you log in as info at Maycreate and then see the stuff that we're,
See the what? The Google Hangout.
yeah.
Try and find it there.
Yeah, you're finishing my sentences. This is really good.
Info, but I didn't know how you were recording through, so I didn't want to like bump you out of whatever you.
I know, this is so true.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try.
I don't know. I don't know,
You're
Sadie.
logged in as yourself.
Nope, I'm not.
Where are you logged in as? Info?
Here, hold on a second. I'll share it again.
Okay. I had a link, but that one is not working anymore.
Okay, so Molly couldn't here via join.me, but she's on using the phone. Teresa isn't on using the phone or using join.me right now that I know of. Okay, so Teresa's on the phone. Good. So I have Teresa and I have Molly. So then anybody else who is logged in is I don't know. So we're good. We're just gonna keep going. Awesome. I have people and I have vocal. Yeah. I am going to let's make sure that we're all playing together here. End the show. All right. So now we should actually be seeing like my Google, not my Google, sorry. Let me get my brain back wrapped around what it's supposed to be doing here. We should be looking at my PowerPoint right now. Do you see me, like my funny smiling face and my kids right now on join.me? And my dog, is it flipping? She is. She's a good dog. Okay. Alrighty. I think that we might be better set now. All right. Hopefully now my stuff is going to behave. Alrighty. So this is me. Hi, Teresa. This is me. This is Ellis. This is Aveline. I own Make Create. And yeah, here are the fun ways that we can connect online. And we were just talking about what we're going to talk about today, which we went through and talked about what web analytics is and how it was actually built to help marketers make informed marketing decisions. And I feel like it's important because it's one of the most trackable forms of marketing available. And then we moved into the lay of the land, so we're actually in this part. But later in our presentation, we're going to talk about what the visitor metrics are, where your visitors come from, how they find you, and how they use your site. And we're going to try to really apply that into what those metrics mean on specific reports. So that way, when you look at the reports on your own, you can understand what each report means and what pieces of information to pick out and make sure that you understand them. Okay, so we already went through this stuff. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Um, Let me see if I have another solution then. It usually doesn't do that. So that's not good. All right. And it's still flipping right now. Back to the puppy, back to the screen, back to the puppy, back to the screen. Junk. Okay. Let me problem solve here for a second. Hold on and let me see if there is. I can log out and I can log back in. That would be one way to do it. But then I have to get you guys reattached to me as well, which kind of stinks. I have an idea. I am going to hold on. I can log. Has it stopped flipping now? Okay. Let me see if it's going to flip when I do this. It just flipped. Oh. All right. Is it still flipping now? Okay. I'm going to try to go through the slides a little bit slower and see if it keeps freaking out. Hopefully it doesn't. Alrighty, so when I revisited Google Analytics one day, because I hang out in it often, I noticed that they had changed some things over there. And there were three main things that I noticed that they changed. One was the logo. The second thing was the layout. And the third thing was the terminology. So the logo isn't such a big deal, but the designer in me is like really excited about it, right? The layout was a little bit bigger of a deal because I wasn't sure where anything lived anymore and I had to relearn that. And the terminology was actually kind of an improvement, even though some things they weren't called the same things as they were before. So we're going to look a little bit about that. And please just let me know if it keeps flipping or if it starts flipping again. And then we'll do whatever magic I just did to make it stop. All right, so this is the old logo here, the old Google Analytics logo. And you can see it's got all this fun, shady stuff on there. And now they have this new pretty Google Analytics logo, which is this nice, flatter version, which is, well, it's more along the lines of what designs are going to these days. And this is what the old Google Analytics looked like. It's got that orange bar up at the top. And the new, it doesn't look that different. Thank you. So when you log into Google Analytics, this is where you land. You land in Audience Overview. It was previously called Dashboard, but now it's Audience Overview. And this gives us information just in general about the audience. And this is generally what is emailed to you monthly, is just these big general numbers. On the left-hand side of the screen are links to all the reports that we will look at together today. And they are all located underneath the reporting tab. So this reporting tab is right up here. So if for some reason you're like bouncing around in there and you end up underneath the reporting tab, and you end up outside of the reporting tab, this is where you need to go back to in order to find your data. Okay, so whenever you log in, you're going to see information through a default setting like of one calendar month. If you want to, you can look at more than one calendar month. You can compare dates. You do this by just clicking on your calendar information and then you choose your dates. Now, I tell you this because not because I've ever done it before, but if you're going to put in dates, you do have to use the 3-letter month abbreviation the way they want you to, or it won't let you do it. So SEPT is not the way that you abbreviate September, in case you were wondering. So just a word from the wise there. In the middle of the screen is this plotted timeline of metrics, and it's showing you everything like over the course of time that we're looking at right now. This can be changed and view other metric data from your report. And it's not always the most important thing on the report within the program. And the reason I say that is because it's always going to show you this general information unless you ask it for something else. So the information that we're going to look at today lives underneath the timeline. And I've just taken screenshots of it. What now? Yes, that is a very good question, and it will segue us into the next thing that we are going to talk about, which what is this visitor metric that we're looking at right now, which is sessions. So percent. Okay, so there's two things that I want you to keep in mind when you're looking at your data. One is that the percentages are just that. They're percentages, they're averages. So they're not quite as reliable as the hard data, and I'll tell you which things are hard data when we go over it. And then the second thing is if your website has low traffic, it's better to view your reports over a longer period of time than a shorter period of time. And I say that because if you think about, like, if you're going to give a survey to somebody about your services and you only ask 5 people versus 500 people, when you survey more people, your data is more reliable, right? So it's the same thing with your website. Making sure that you have lots of data to actually make a judgment call on is better. So percent of new sessions, that's the percentage of new visitors to your site as compared to all visitors during a given time period. And then your average visit duration is the average amount of time that somebody spends on your site. The bounce rate are people who go in and come out of your site on the same page. So they never click around and go anyplace else. Pages per session is also another average, and it's how many pages on average do people visit each time that they come to your site. Now, these three are all hard numbers. So page views is the number of pages viewed, period. It's not an average, it's just the number of pages viewed. And whenever you're looking at a specific page, it's how many times somebody viewed that page. So it's not an average at all, it's just that specific page. Sessions is also a hard number. It's the number of times your website has been accessed. So it used to be called visits, which made things a little confusing because you had visits and then you had visitors, and visits was an action and visitors was a person, which was a little confusing. So sessions actually kind of clears it up a little bit, because when your database is accessed to view your website, the server considers that a session. So they're just using a more technical term for it, and I think it's kind of nice. But so if there's 2 of us that have visited the website, then there's 2 users, which is the next term here. But each one of us users could have 5 sessions each. So that would be 10 sessions. Any questions on those visit metrics? Exactly. You got it. All right. So, mhm. um, let's go to the previous slide just one more time here. Are you looking at the page views metric? Okay, so the page views is the number of times a page has been viewed. Sessions is the number of times your website has been accessed, and users is the number of unique users, unique visitors to your website. So each user could see lots of pages and come back lots of times. Alrighty, so the educator in me loves to start everything with goals, and so does the marketer in me. So the thing is whenever you're looking at this data, if you don't have something specific that you're trying to judge against, it's difficult to know whether you're doing a good job or not. So I like to set goals just to get started. And I have in your little worksheet, it's kind of fun. So this is fill in the blanks. If you guys want to fill in the blanks, you can. So I encourage people to set viewer-centric goals, because you are very important in this picture, but the people that you're trying to sell to are even more important than you are, because it's their needs that you're trying to meet. So always making sure that your goals are viewer-centric is the way to go. Focus on building value to your website visitors. The more value they find in your website, the more likely they are to come back. And then I encourage people to integrate their website into the processes of their business. So for example, in my last session, I had a lady who's a massage therapist, and she allows people to book a massage on her website. So she's building value for people because they don't have a lot of time and they don't want to like call back and forth 100 times to try to, schedule their massage. And then she doesn't have to have a receptionist. So she's integrated it into the processes of her business. She does everything like this online and she doesn't have to pay a receptionist. Instead, it's on her website. So that is a great way to use your site, right? All right, so the data that we're going to look at today is coming from the May Create site. And our site is a little unique in the way that we do a lot of blogging. And so we have traffic from all over the United States, and we have different types of visitors coming to our website. And we're going to look at how those different visitors use things. Whereas people who only have a few pages on their site or don't blog are going to have they're going to have different looking data than we have, if that makes sense. So for example, our site goals are to generate leads using our blog as a portal to engage our target market by offering free downloadable resources. And then we want to take and nurture and qualify the leads submitted through the site to ensure that they're a good fit for our business. And we do that as a way to integrate our site with our business because I only have one total salesperson between Stacy and I. We're both half salespeople, right? So that means that we need to make sure that Stacy and I use our time very wisely. I don't want Stacy to have conversations with people who don't really value the same things as we value or who can't afford to work with us or just don't really care if their stuff is good or not. That wouldn't be a very good use of Stacy's time. So out of respect for Stacy, I want to make sure that I qualify these leads before they come into us. We want to build credibility and share our qualifications. And then we want to highlight our company culture and deter businesses who don't feel the same way we do to not work with us because we feel like the businesses that we work with should feel like they're awesome. They should want to do really good business and have really good stuff. And if they don't want that, then, well, if you don't like yourself, I can't make other people like you, so that's not really going to work. So then how do I measure those goals? One of the things that we're always trying to strive for is something called engagement. Google uses these metrics and it determines whether or not people are engaged with your site and with your company. So the way that Google measures engagement is by the page views. You always want to increase your page views. More page views is better. Longer average session durations. You want lower bounce rates, increased pages per session, and more return visitors. And all these things together means good or improved visitor engagement. And I like to use the analogy of engagement is like making friends, right? So your good friends come over to your house and you let them go into any room of your house and it's not a big deal. You might even let them use your bathroom. So whenever they come over, they're viewing your pages. They're going into the different rooms of your house. For your good friends, they stay longer. They have a longer average session duration because they might stay for lunch. They might stay for lunch and dinner. They might stay for the weekend. Those friends you're more engaged with. They have a lower bounce rate. They're not just your neighbor that comes over and knocks on the door and borrows an egg, or they're not actually going to borrow an egg. They're going to have an egg because they're not going to give that egg back, I hope. But they're not that salesperson that never gets past the entryway of your house. And then you will have increased pages per session because they're going to be at your house longer, so they're going to go into more pages or more rooms more often. And then they're going to come back more often because you like them and you want to hang out with them more. So think about this engagement as making friends. Google looks at these metrics like we look at having our friends. You want to have lots and lots of close friends. And then Google says, oh, well, you do a great job on your website. Your visitors are engaged. I shall reward you by giving you higher placement in my search listings because you obviously are doing what's right for your people. So some of the ways that we monitor our site goals is by looking at specific pieces of our website to make sure that the goals are met or are working towards them, I should say. So generating leads on our blog and offering free downloadable resources. I can see whether that's working or not by looking at the number of sessions, sorry, it should say sessions, not visits, and those visit durations or those session durations on blog posts, because that's where I'm leading people to begin with. The more return visitors means that I'm more engaged, obviously. And then more pages per visit would also mean that my visitors are more engaged. And then if I'm nurturing and qualifying my leads, they could be measured by the number of times I have people submit forms on my website. I can also count the amount of closed business I have, and I can look at the number of new visitors, because if I don't have more new visitors, then I can't have more form submissions. It's the same thing as a sales cycle. You have to have more people, more contacts to get more sales. Okay. So then to build credibility, that would be in different parts of my site. People looking at the portfolio pages, clicking through to the contact page. And then to highlight our company culture and deter people who don't want to play with us, they might be those number of visits to the Meet the Team, the About Us, the Smile Behind the Sass, and the contact page. Okay, so today we're going to look at data compared from January 13th, 2014 to August 13th, 2014. And January 13th, 2013 to August 13th, 2013. So they're not a full year's worth of data, but a section of a year compared with a section of a year before. Yes. Why I chose them or how I got them? Um, hold on, and I'll show you. On this screen right here, there's this little drop-down triangle. Click on the little drop-down triangle, and it will. Sorry, things are probably flipping around all over the place right now. Yeah. And then if you want to compare to another date range, you would check this box right here where my cursor is living over it, compare to, and then you can put in your other date range. Okay. Cool. Okay, things are going to blink for a second. I apologize. Okay. So when I am looking through data, I follow a process to make sure that I understand what's going on. And I know it sounds strange, but when we first look at a website's data, it's like I just look at it and I'm like, yep, all right, there's visitors. But then I take myself through separate reports and I go through this process on each report, and it gives me a picture. Like I can see what's happening then, and I can make some judgment calls on what needs to be changed. But before I go through the process, I can't see it, and I don't know what I would do to change a website or make it better. So I am using the acronym SCABBY. You're going to pick through the data to reveal the big picture. You're going to go through the SCABBY process. So you scan for large changes, and you compare the individual report data, and then you're going to annotate items that are out of the ordinary, brainstorm possible reasons for variations, and investigate for further clarification. And this is my process. Now let's apply it. Yippee! We're going to start on traffic sources. Now to get there and view these reports on your, I'm going to pull up, hold on just a second, we might get some flippiness. On your worksheet, I'm going to show you where it is. The path to find the reports is listed underneath report locations. So we're gonna look at these 3 reports, and if you want to find them on your own, here's how. Sound good? So there's the right turn arrow on your worksheet, and I have underneath it listed, and there's 3 things that have blue text next to them, and it'll tell you these are the tabs that you click on to get to these specific reports that we'll look at. Are things still flipping and being able? Okay. I'm going to move back into my PowerPoint now. She's such a sweet girl. She's my oldest child. Alrighty, so the traffic sources. What this tells me is how visitors are finding my website, and it helps me determine whether my website is being viewed by prospects or customers as well. So our fill in the blank here. Our direct traffic found our website by typing in the domain or bookmarking pages to see the site directly. And the search traffic found me, or the organic traffic found me by searching using a search engine such as Google. And the referral traffic finds you by clicking on a link to your site from another site. Now, one of the nice things about each one of these reports is there's this bar that goes across the top, and it tells you whether you have approved or like improved or basically declined. So all these green arrows here mean that good stuff is going on, and the red arrow means that good stuff is not going on. So I have a lot of good arrows, and then I have a bad arrow. So I have to look at this number down here and say, oh, it's 2 minutes and 2 seconds versus 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Is that so bad? I don't know. So let's look in and give it a whirl. The direct traffic report is generally a report of visitors that you know or have heard of you. So it usually means that if you have lots of direct traffic, then your other marketing is working. Either your salespeople are doing a good job sending people to the site, or your print advertising is working, your direct mail. All of those items are working if your direct traffic is working or is up. So here we have the first couple hits on the May Create Direct Traffic report, and the first one is the homepage, so people type in our web address. The second one is something that's bookmarked, so newsletter do's and don'ts, logo redesigns. PHP is a great programming language. These are our 3 biggest read blog posts, or I should say most read blog posts. So those are all things that people have bookmarked and are coming to, and then the contact page is something that people are typing in as well. So there we go. And I don't see anything out of the ordinary there, so we're all good to go. All right, so now the organic traffic. One of the things that I notice here, even when I just look at these numbers, is I see this is a really big increase. We increased 159% for sessions due to organic traffic. And the new users is up 169%. So that's a lot. And knowing that those are good things for me, but then too, using that scabby approach, I'm like, wow, these are really big numbers. I should probably look into what's happening here, what's going on. I should probably dig a little bit deeper. When I look at the organic traffic report, I like to think, what search engine are visitors using the most to find me? You can see over here on the left that these visitors are finding me using Google. People are Google searching and they're finding me. But it could be via Bing, it could be via Ask. There's lots of different ways that people can find your site in different search engines. And you can use this information to, if you're going to do like search placement advertising, like Google AdWords. There's also Yahoo and Bing have a joint advertising program as well. If there's a lot of people that are coming to your site from Google, then you know that your audiences could potentially be on Google. It looks like they are. So if you're going to do paid search engine advertisements, then might make sense to do it on Google. And also, the content that they're searching for and finding can indicate which of your target market or what phase of the buying cycle your people are in. So you can write more successful ads to make sure that you're reaching them appropriately. Right now, we can see that organic traffic is coming from, they're searching for and landing on the newsletter do's and don'ts page, the PHP page, the logo redesigns page. These are, like I said, they're my 3 biggest blog posts. So they're up there, and so is my homepage. And then the other one that I'm proud of, because we love working with commercial construction companies and we love working with engineers. We find that like they're very process oriented people. They work on deadlines. They make decisions quickly. We love working with these people. We want to work with more people like this because they are great clients for us and we want to be best friends with them. So we decided, well, if we want to be best friends with these people, then we should probably start talking to them about things that they care about. And so we started blogging specifically about commercial construction and websites. And I'm really happy when I see that my 5th most found page using organic search is the commercial construction page. That's a post actually written about commercial construction websites. So I'm like, yay, look, this is totally awesome. From here, I can look at this data and say, actually, too, this is a really good post because these people stay on my website for longer than a lot of other posts. I can go over here and I can draw a circle. So they're here for 1 minute and 12 seconds on this post, and they tend to go to about 2 pages per session. The bounce rate is 41%, which is a little bit high. Most of them are new sessions and new users. While up here, I can see that my session duration for my newsletter do's and don'ts is only 46 seconds and 48 seconds on my PHP programming language one, 30 seconds for logo redesigns. So I feel like in relativity to the rest of the stuff, this is looking pretty good to me. I'm okay with it all. Go me, yay. All right, so referral traffic. Now I'm looking at those websites that are sending traffic to my website. And once again, I'm noticing, lots of really good green arrows, and we have a red arrow. And so I need to look at it and say, that has gone down. But it hasn't gone that much down. It's gone down like 2%, so I'm not too worried about that. Alrighty, so on the referral traffic report, it shows you what websites are driving traffic to your site. And some sites can be a result of your other marketing efforts, such as social media. You'll see that Facebook.com is on my report. So that site is referring traffic over to me. And I like to look for sites that do a really good job referring to my website. Some of my my client sites do a really good job of referring business to my website. And then if I had directory sites that were referring traffic into me. And so what I try to do with those things is I think, are there ways that I can capitalize on this? Let's say I have a client site who does a great job referring traffic over to me. Maybe what I need to do is ask them, hey, can I pay for your hosting every month in return for putting an ad on the bottom of your site? Would you be open to that? Because I may be able to drive even more traffic from their website to my site. Or I might want to investigate the people that come to their site or come to my site from their site to see what they're doing on my website to make sure that they would be good people for me to continue getting more of. And the same thing for directory sites. If they're referring a lot of traffic to you, then you can go out to those directory sites and say, well, how does my listing look here versus the other ones that I'm on? Or would it make sense for me to have a paid listing on this directory site to drive more traffic back to me? Just using those things is fuel for thought, I should say. So these are my high referring sites. And this second set of pages, this is the second largest set of referring sites here. And as I'm going through using my Scabby method, I'm scanning, and I notice that cmalt.com is up here. Now, I've never seen that on my report before. And it's also down underneath number 9 as well, cmalt.cmalt.com. And I'm like, what is this exactly? It's not, I've never seen it before. So that was something that, I scanned for this and I compared it to my past reports, and I had never seen it before. So then I wrote it down and I was like, I need to figure out why this is here. So I went out and I did some research and I investigated out online, what is this thing and why is it here? And now I am deciding whether or not I want to block it from accessing my site anymore because I don't know if it's good or not. I'm trying to research whether it's good or not because it's not making a lot of sense as to me why it's there. Just an example of the Scabby method at work. It's an SEO kind of like measuring and monitoring site that I'm not signed up for. So it doesn't make any sense that it's accessing my website, and it turns out that it's well, sort of, yes. It's going out and it's repeatedly looking at my site from what I understand, and it does this with a lot of WordPress sites. So I need to keep reading about it. There was an article about whether it's bad or good. There was another article about how to block it, and I haven't finished reading all those articles yet, but it's just like it's on the to-do list. Hey, got to figure out what this thing is and realize whether or not you should or shouldn't have it on there. So I'm not all the way done investigating yet, but it was a good observation that it just wasn't there before. What's going on, And especially on those things, if you guys are looking at it, you can always turn to your web designer and be like, what is this? This does not make any sense to me, and I'm not going to research it because I don't have time. What I do is not this, but you need to figure it out and come back to me, and they'll be like, okay, cool. Learning experience. So our number one referrer is our inbound marketing site, which is good. It's doing its job. Our Facebook is down. And that's kind of surprising to me because we've been working on our social media campaigns and trying to get more traffic from them. And our Twitter and LinkedIn didn't show up in the top 10 either. So I need to dig in and figure out where those are, because we have been doing a lot of Twitter and LinkedIn posting, and our Twitter following is growing every day. So it was a little surprising to me. So now I need to go back and say, what's going on? I need to brainstorm and investigate why they're not doing what I think they should do. And then once again, I need to continue researching on CMalt. Yes. Yeah. Do, do, do. This one? Yeah, do you want to look at number 1? Okay. Yeah, that's like, go ahead. Mine too. Did you notice that mine is Google France? And it's French Google, so it might actually be, and I need to look this up on mine as well. It could be that it's like from Canada. So it might not be that it's Google France. It could be that it's a French Google. Is it just your regular website, or is it like on mine it says info.makecreate.com and then the second one is projects.makecreate.com? So these are subdomains of my site. So they're recorded as referrers. Yeah, because I'm tracking at makecreate.com. So on info at makecreate.com, yes, it's separate stuff. And projects.makecreate.com is also separate stuff. Projects.makecreate.com is our. It might be the way that you have like your domain set up. It could be that part of your website is www.yourdomainname.com and the other one might just be yourdomainname.com. And if part of your site is referred to that way and the other part isn't, then they'll go back and forth and be weird like that. You might look previous to when you fixed it. It could. Mm-hmm. You can get referral traffic from your newsletters as well. Yeah. And if they're viewing the newsletter online and then clicking, then you would even be more likely to get it as referral traffic. I can't tell you without looking specifically at, yeah, that's where I would go to look at it. You're welcome. Yeah. And like on these specific examples, like info.makecreate.com, this is like our site out at HubSpot. And projects.makecreate.com, this is our project management software that we use to manage all of our projects. So these are all things that are, you know, they're not part of the Make Create site. They're just part of the Make Create domain family. Okay. Mm-hmm. Of the referral traffic. That's 12% of the referral traffic. Yeah. And then, so I would read this as 332 sessions or 12% of the referral traffic. 4.22% of these 332 sessions were new. 14 of them were new users. The bounce rate on these 332 sessions was 15%. These 332 users viewed an average of 8.7 pages per session. And out of these 332 users, their average session duration was 8 minutes and 10 seconds. So all of this information here is in relativity to these sessions here. We're actually going to talk about that in a few minutes, so that's a really good question. You're okay. No problem. All right, so we already did my traffic observations. I'm going to click through these quickly, so it might blink. I'm sorry. Okay, so now we're in search terms. So when it comes to search terms, I like to also examine the stages of the buying cycle because people search for different things in different stages of the buying cycle. And if you can recognize what those things that they search for are, then you can understand who is on your website and what phase of the buying cycle they're in. So the first phase of the buying cycle is awareness. Like this poor little ducky doesn't even know that it's not cool to swim upside down yet. So he's learning that it's not good. Back to that therapeutic massage example, like this ducky, he has headaches. And he's just learning that there's a possibility that his headaches could go away. And then our duckies are like, oh, well, there's lots of different ways that my headaches could go away. I could go to a chiropractor, I could take Advil, I could go to a massage therapist, I could go have back surgery, I could stop sitting at my desk all day long. All right, now I feel like in this phase of the buying cycle, I know what I need to do to get rid of my headaches. What I want to try first is I want to try therapeutic massage. Now, this stage right here is where most websites are talking to their buyers. They don't talk at all in the first two phases. They only speak within this third phase. And from there, I'm like, okay, therapeutic massage, that's what I need to do. I'm going to look at all these different people that do therapeutic massage in Columbia, Missouri. And from there, I'm going to purchase my massage from whomever. And then you start your cycle again. So throughout the process, I'm like that person is searching for different things. In consideration, I would be searching for headache treatments. In preference, I would be searching for massage therapy Columbia, Missouri. Does this make sense? And in purchase/repurchase, I would be searching for company name generally. So when you're found by your business name or your company name, it means generally that the rest of your marketing is working. And if you're not found by what you do, it means that your page content needs improvement. For example, I had a guy who was a residential builder and he did remodeling, and he wrote his own text for his own website, but he never mentioned that he did any remodeling. And he came in to do his Google Analytics review and he's upset because he's not being found for remodeling. And I'm like, well, you never said that you did any remodeling. So they're not going to come to your website if you don't say that you did it. Like, it's not magic. And then if you're frequently found for things you don't do, your page content needs improvement. For example, our number one search term for a few months was sidewalk chalk. And I was just like freaking out. Why are people finding my website for sidewalk chalk? It was like obnoxious. And it's because I wrote a blog post that was about how sidewalk chalk is a lost marketing tool, right? Because it's awesome and you can use it and write on the sidewalk and like draw people into your building, and it's so neat. But then I was like, okay, this is not working very well. I need to figure out a way that I can capitalize on these users and pull them into my website, but it's totally skewing my data. So we need to think of ways to fix this. But it meant my page content needed some improvement. Go ahead. Yes, we're going to look at them right now. You're okay. So to find those search terms, you're going to go to acquisition and then click on keywords and then click on organic. And from there, you'll see your search terms. So these are the people that are searching for your company or your services. The visitors that find you by what you do are closer to the beginning of their buying cycle. And then those that find you by your name are closer to the end of the buying cycle. And if you have lots of visitors that are finding you by your name, then it could mean that they're clients or that your marketing is driving traffic to your website. So on our website, these are the biggest search terms that find us. And if you remember, if you think back to what our highest visited pages were, there was that logo design of 2013 blog post. So this Facebook logo.ping, logo Facebook ping, logo ping, Facebook logo, all of these things are yielding that post. They're going there. Then eBlast takes them to the do's and don'ts of email marketing. YPHP takes them to the YPHP post. Make Great Design, obviously that's us. But the thing that I really want to point out here is this not provided. Because there is a lot of not provided. Like over 20,000 people came to our site in this time frame that we're looking at, and I am only seeing the data as far as search terms for like 8,000 of them, if that, because 12,799 are not provided, and it's because Google doesn't give me this data. They don't give it to me because these are the people that searched for my site and found it through Google. You have to pay for this, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I mean, so going back to the original statement that I made about how, if your website has lots of traffic to it and you have lots of data, then you can draw conclusions from it pretty, you know, with good faith. However, seeing as I don't have all my data here, I'm missing like well over half of it. I don't know that I can look at these numbers and get really excited about them because I don't really know that this is true or not. Does this make sense? Because I know from my other report that Google is my number one search engine, right? Like people are finding me through Google, but Google won't show me the keywords that people use to find my site. So that's kind of a bummer. They're from like they're from Bing, they're from ask.com. Um, they're from all of the search engines that are not Google. And then you're one of the 12,799. It's kind of evil. Yeah, they give it to their AdWords customers, but they don't give it to us lowly people over here. So we get this data, we get it through HubSpot. Like we pay HubSpot for this, for a report that shows us this stuff. Um, but you can pay Google and get it. And one of the things that I was proud about, and I'm giving myself a good work sticker for, is that even in these small things, number 17 and number 28 of my list were my construction websites. So I was like, yay, people are finding us and they're learning things about construction website design. Okay, so go ahead. You may have to, whenever I find randomness, that is like in that first section, right? So you're scanning, you're finding randomness. Good. You are like, you're on your way to understanding what's going on, right? Because you can identify now what doesn't seem right. So from there, I would start narrowing down the search and sorting through different things to understand what's happening there. Um, you might sort and say what pages are the landing pages that this search term yields, and then you can see where people are coming in using that search term. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can sort your data to make it make more sense from there. So our search term observations, because okay, and anyway, back to that and what I just said. So for example, like that sidewalk chalk thing, which is seemingly like doesn't make any sense, or the Facebook logo, you're like, why is it say Facebook logo on here? This doesn't make any sense either, right? Because that's not what we're talking about. Um, so I can go through and say, where are people going? Where are they landing on when they use this search term? And it'll tell me what pages they're landing on, and then I understand, oh, it's that blog post. You could have an image that has a alt tag or something else too that's driving people in. So from our search term observations, I can see that our blogging activities definitely pull in that traffic for us. I need to make sure that the common topics are supported with an offering and a workflow to gather and nurture my leads. So if lots of people are searching for logos, which apparently there are a lot of people looking at this logo post, I need to make sure that I have a way that I can continue my relationship with them. And then also one thing that I noticed that wasn't there this time that was there before is Web Design Columbia, Missouri. And part of that is because I increased my traffic by like I don't even like thousands upon thousands of visitors. So, and those people are from all over the United States. They're not from Columbia, Missouri. So I do need to though go back and compare myself with my competition to make sure that I'm still ranking for Web Design Columbia, Missouri. Because although I want to work with construction companies all over the United States, that doesn't mean that I want to stop doing business in my hometown. So I still want to rank here. So this is something that I should say, oh, whoa, not there. What's happening? Sorry, I was taking a drink of water there. All right, so are your visitors engaged? One of the ways that Google judges whether they're engaged is new versus returning, frequency, and engagement. And so new versus returning, we're going to talk about the answer to your question in that one in just one moment. So new visitors are good, and return visitors are better. So we want to strive for more visitors visiting more often with increased session duration. And that's just a variation of that first what equals good engagement. It's just a different way of saying it. Excuse me. So as your new visitors increase, you also want your return visitors to increase because you want people returning and visiting more often. If your content is good, return visitors will increase more than new visitors over a given period of time. And that's what you want. You want to have good relationships with those friends that you have. And your return visitors tell you if your content is appropriate for them and if your other marketing efforts such as social media and email marketing are working. Because even though you came into my website through email marketing, it knows that it's you. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you good stuff and that you appreciate, the content that I'm giving you. Because if you don't like it and if it doesn't apply to you and it doesn't make your world better, then you're not coming back. And then the new visitors tells you the number of potential leads that you can gather from your site. So, it's the same thing as in a sales metric. If you make 5 phone calls versus 500 phone calls, you have that many more opportunities to make a sale. So here, I noticed that my return visitors, I have slightly more than I did last year. It's up 0.4%, right? And I really would like it to be more, honestly. I want it to be more. However, I'm not going to beat myself up too hard because my bounce rate on my new visitors is less than on my return visitors is less than on my new visitors. My return visitors visit far more pages on my site than my new visitors do. And my return visitors spend a lot more time on average than my new visitors do. So the way I see it, I look at it and I go, well, I didn't increase it as much as I wanted to, but the people that I do have following me are really good friends. They're like family. So this next report is our frequency report. Okay, did you have any other questions before I move on about the new versus return visitors and how you want that to look? Mm-hmm. It's going to be different for each site. So it all depends on the site and the type of information you share and how big your demographic is, um, or how big your area is that you cover with the people that visit your site. So there is no specific percentage that I can tell you right now. Um, I wish I could, but I don't. Yeah, because if you are giving your new visitors information that they find useful, then the hope would be that they return. And if you are engaging your new visitors and you're getting their information, signing them up for your email list, having them friend you on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, then you've created a relationship there and you ask them to come back to your website. So that relationship can be measured by return visitors in a way. So, and I say that, okay, so if I have a client that has 5 pages on their website and is always talking to people in the third and fourth phases of the buying cycle that I'm comparing and I'm buying phases, then their return visitors, even if they get tons and tons and tons of new visitors, their return visitors are never going to go up. And that is going to be the way that their website data looks. But if you have a blog or are regularly sending people to your website to see new photos or to see events or whatever it is that you continually update on your website, then your return visitors should be increasing as your new visitors are increasing. Does that make sense? How it can be different for every website based on the data that you share with them? Okay. Okay, so frequency. Yippee! Okay, so this report confused me a lot to begin with. And it's because reading it from left to right doesn't make any sense. So I read this report from middle to right, or middle to left to right. Middle to left to right. Yes, okay, that is correct. All right, so basically the way that I would read this report is 17,551 sessions or users, visits, came to my website one time, and those 17,551 people viewed 43,155 pages. So to do it with the second here, 1,440 people came to my website 2 times, and those people viewed 5,753 pages. Make sense? It didn't make sense to me at first until I figured out that I couldn't read it from left to right. Because otherwise I'm like, 3 what? 3, 525? I don't get it. All right, and so this is engagement. So that's how long they're on your website for. And what I look for in these numbers on a website is you want these numbers as it gets longer, as your session duration is longer, you should see a bigger spike in the number of page views because they're on your website for longer. So they should naturally view more pages. Yeah. This top one is always really big, and then these two tend to be slightly smaller, the 11 to 30 second and the 31 to 60 seconds. And then things should start jumping up at the bottom. And if they don't, then we need to kind of figure out what on earth is going on there, because that doesn't make any sense. Unless they're reading like really long reports. So my engagement observations is that our return visitors are more engaged than our new visitors because they stay on the site longer and they view more pages. We need to keep working on our automation workflows and provide quality content to increase those return visitors because I want more return visitors. I want more friends and more relationships. And I need to look at the percentages to see how my new navigation is impacting the frequency and engagement. And in our next set of data, we'll see that it's quite okay. Alrighty, so we're going to end up running over because we got started late, but I'm going to keep plowing away, and if you guys need to leave, then you let me know, okay? I just wanted to let you know up front. So page views. So the average time on the page tells us if the content was engaging. And pages with high entrances are generally optimizing well or linked too often. And high entrances mean this is the door that they go through to get to your site. A high bounce rate usually means the content wasn't what they thought it would be, or the conversion path was unclear. Like they didn't know that there was something else that they could do on your website, or they didn't know that there was something else that they should be interested in your website. Now your exit rates should be the highest on your contact page and then generally the home page. And I say that because people will click back the back button on their browser until they get to the website that they were at before yours. And that's why they exit from the homepage sometimes, because they enter from the homepage. So my page views are way up right now when I look at this data, 281% better. Yippee, right? And so we had a lot of improvement, obviously, on our website over the same span of time the year before. And part of the reason is because the data that we're looking at right now, at the beginning or at the end of last year, we started publishing between 12 and 15 blog posts per month, whereas the year before we only did 1 to 2 blog posts per month. So we are just generating a lot more ways for people to find our website and utilize our content by making more blog posts. Hey, my exit rate's down. That's really awesome, because that was a really big concern of ours, is that we didn't want exit rate. We want it to be down. We want people to stay on the website longer. When I look at the pages report, I always try to find any well-trafficked pages with high bounce rates and exit rates, so that way I can look further into those. I'm going to annotate those and brainstorm about ways that I can improve those pages, because it means that they're not following through with what I want them to do. And then I like to look at the information on the pages and try to understand what types of viewers are interested in which types of information, to make sure I'm speaking to them appropriately, so I can help suggest where they can go in their next step here. So knowing this, I have my newsletter do's and don'ts page, which is way up at the top. Logo redesigns, portfolio. So I'm going to look over here at my exit rate on these pages. So my exit rate is down. My bounce rate is down for my newsletter do's and don'ts page. So that makes me pretty happy. The thing that's kind of bumming me out, though, is that the time on the page isn't very good. So I probably need to go look at that page and make sure that the content in there is formatted well. Maybe it needs to be updated. It could be outdated, because it's been around since 2013. So I need to really make sure that this post is doing what I want it to do, because it's a major traffic driver in my site. And these are other pages in our site. I look at my commercial construction page here, which is one of the goals that I have, is that commercial construction page. Also, the web design must-haves for the commercial construction websites. And these two are they make me happy, because people are spending more than average time on those pages. Once again, like 28 seconds versus a minute and 22 seconds. That's a good post. I did a nice job there. Somebody's looking at that information. My exit rate here is 51% though, and 57%. So that is higher than some of the other ones. I need to make sure now that I'm actually giving them something else that they want, like linking to other posts that would interest them, or give them something to download that can help them along in their website journey. So that's something that I need to move forward with. Oops, making little clicky thingies all over the place here. Alrighty. So my page view observations, I've spoken about all these already, so we're good. The one thing I haven't spoken about is that I noticed that our average time on the page has dropped, so I need to go back into the website and make sure that we're formatting stuff so viewers want to read it. Alrighty, so visitors flow, this is really cool. This shows you where people go first, second, third, fourth throughout your website. So the most common third stop on your website will be your home page due to the back clickers. I can't tell you how many of these reports I've looked at. The home page is almost always a third stop, and for a while I was like, what is going on here? Why is it always this way? And then Tyler was like, wait a second. Whenever I look at a web page with my mom, she clicks back all the way out of the website. I'm like, Oh, that's so crazy. So these are the people that went to one page within your site and then clicked back and then left. So it illustrates how visitors flow through your site. And there's a red indicator that I'm going to point to in a second that shows us what our exit rate is. And then we want to pay attention to how visitors arrive at our contact page to make sure that we are giving them a clear path of entry. So here is our, oops, go back, previous. Here is our setup. So this newsletter do's and don'ts here. These are the people that are coming in through my blog. They go here, and that's the exit right here. They leave. And then they go into the home page. And then from the home page, they either go back to newsletter do's and don'ts and leave, or they go to like 1,000 of them, over 1,000 of them went on to more pages within my website. This is the path that this particular user has through my website. While the people that come in through my homepage, which there's a lot of people that come in through my homepage, they will go to the contact page, the resources page, our team, our portfolio. So based on what we know about where people are in the buying cycle, would you guess that these people are at the beginning phases, or are these people nearer to the end when they come in through my homepage? They're actually closer to the end because they had to find me. They had to search for web design Columbia, Missouri, or me create design to get here. And then they're investigating me like, hey, what are these folks doing? From there, they might go to our team. They might go back to the homepage and leave. They might go to contact, portfolio. So they're just moving throughout the main pages of my site. They're not like digging into the resources section and going to more blog posts. So there's definitely two very different paths that people take through my site based on what phase they are in my buying cycle. Or I should say in their buying cycle, because it's certainly not mine, because I'm not buying a website. I build them. All right, so the observations, I think we need to write some more blog posts about newsletters, because obviously it's doing really good. And in some instances, I think we probably need to have a clearer conversion path to keep the visitors on the website. And there are people who are using our website to get our contact information only. And I also think, after asking two groups of people already today, that resources is not a very clear page name. And based on this data that I've seen, I think I need to rename my resources page because it's actually my blog page. People don't know that. Alrighty, so location. This is going to show me visitors from different locations may visit different information within your website. And this data can be used to gauge the effectiveness of your regional marketing campaigns. And it can also locate possible expansion areas. These nice little maps are so pretty, and they have, you know, varying darkness of where people visit. So the darker areas are where more people visit from. It shows what, yes. Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. You're welcome. Bye. Okay, so, oh, go ahead. hmm Yes, it sure is. You're right. Okay, then you're going to click into the United States. and then click on, which state are you in? Are you in? Awesome. So you can click on Oregon. Like right now, what my report is showing me is the overview of the United States. And I can see where all my visitors are coming from. Yeah, I think it's the Silicon Valley. So I examined my Missouri traffic because that's where most of it was. And I noticed that my new sessions are down. And if I click on Missouri then, or you click on Oregon, you can see all of the cities that you're getting traffic from. And some of these things aren't as awesome as I want them to be. Like, for example, we can work really well with companies, like small to medium-sized companies in big cities, because we do nice work. And our work is way less expensive than the people who do the same quality work in their city, because the cost of living is so much higher and the cost of operating a business is more expensive there. Whereas for me, my rent is like not that much at all, right? So, so one of the things that I see in my report is I look at it and I go Kansas City and St. Louis. Okay, those are the two biggest cities in Missouri, and I'm not doing very well there, obviously, because I only have 48 visitors. I had 97 the year before. What am I doing wrong? You know, so I need to go out and figure out a way to get more visitors from that area. But I have more visitors from Columbia, and that's where I'm at, so can't be upset about that. Now, if you look at the area where most of your clients live, then you can see how your clients act on your website. So here I'm looking at my report. I clicked on the Columbia link, and now I'm looking at the people, or actually I added another sort up in landing page. So we add another sort in there. And it's telling me that the people from Columbia go to the home page, they go to the What We Do web design page, and they go to the workshops page. I know these people. Um, let's go out. I can't remember finding stuff. I totally understand. All right. Sorry, things are going to be blinky for a second here. All right, so I'm going to go to geo, location. All right, I'm going to the United States here. I'm going to Missouri. I'm going to Columbia. All right, so how I do this is I go to secondary dimension. And then from there, that's what I was meaning by like this landing page is by location thing. So audience, geolocation, secondary dimension. And then I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click on behavior. And then I'll scroll through behavior until I find landing page. And then it's going to sort my information based on the landing pages. So that's how you see it. Alrighty, so this is how the people that are my customers act. This is how people at the beginning of the buying cycle act. Not the same pages, right? So it's just good to know. All right, so my location observations are that people in Columbia and Los Angeles are not interested in the same information at all. And that visitors from the other states are more interested in our blog posts. Columbia visitors are later in the buying cycle. And we should definitely make sure, like, to pair high-ranking blog posts with downloadable offers that would help qualify those LA visitors to turn them into um, clients, because it's a lot more expensive to live there than it is here. I can beat out those companies on price all day long. Not to mention, Stacy's awesome and she is wonderful, and so is Jeremy, and our account service people are great, so they're gonna love it. Midwest, right? We're from the Midwest. We're so nice. Hopefully. All right. So, what now? Yeah. Well, I haven't hung out in Oregon. I have a aunt that lives in Washington, but I haven't even made it up there to see her. But I noticed. So I was traveling through on a flight that was like a never-ending layover flight. I swear I had so many layovers, and it was from Florida back into St. Louis. I had so many layovers it didn't make any sense. Anyway, so I knew the minute that I landed in Minnesota. Like, I didn't know what was going on, but people were commenting on my shirt. They kept talking about, oh, where'd you get that ice cream? Oh, your suitcase looks so heavy, just like talking to me out of the blue. And I'm like, okay, thus far I had been to, like, I was in Florida, and then I think I went up into New York, and then I ended up over in in Minnesota, and I was like, finally I looked around and I was like, where am I? And this lady was like, oh, honey, you're in Minnesota. And I was like, well, that explains it then. I'm in the Midwest. People are talking to me again. They've been ignoring me for like 5 hours, and now everybody's all nice. My travel companion had somebody give her a hug because she had a MU t-shirt on. So our college, she had a college t-shirt on, and it was so funny anyway. All right, so technology, and this is my last set of information, and then we'll get going. Alrighty, so early adopters tend to use browsers such as Chrome and Firefox, and college students or Mac users end up using Safari. And our local college there's a mandatory Mac purchase for one of the biggest schools in our college, and that's why I say our college students use Safari. So if mobile viewers make up 25% of over 25% of your audience, then watch their data very closely and consider creating a mobile site if their interactions are not similar to overall. I feel like with the switch of how people are reading and interacting with websites, like using mobile phones, it's really important that you keep a thumb on what those users are doing, because you don't want to alienate them and not allow yourself to get business from them. So when you're looking at your mobile report, in comparison to your average data, high bounce rate, low page views, and low time on the site can be good indicators that you need a mobile optimized site. However, using the Scabby approach, we still need to do some investigation and maybe look at what pages those people are looking at. Because if they're just going in and out of your contact page, you may not need a mobile site. You just may need to have an easy, like, mobile business card or something. Or maybe they're getting everything that they need. Alrighty, so browsers. This is like a different way of looking at the report, which I thought was kind of cool. I encourage you to do another sort on top of this data for location or landing page to determine what type of visitor is using your site with a particular browser. So you've gone through all these steps and you're like, okay, well, now I know what pages people early and late in the buying cycle are visiting. So if I can see what type of browser these people are in, that could just give me one more piece of, oh, well, everybody using Chrome is actually just visiting the blog, while the people who are visiting the internal pages of my website are using Internet Explorer. I don't know that for sure. I'm just using a hypothetical. But then you can see, oh, well, these Internet Explorer people, why, they're my actual customers. And also, if you see non-typical data for a particular browser, it might mean that your site isn't displaying like appropriately in that browser, and you might need to go talk to your web developer about like improving your site for that browser. Yeah, so when I'm out here, I go into technology and I can look at browsers. So in Chrome, I have lots of new sessions, lots of new users. My bounce rate is a little bit higher. My pages per session is pretty normal here. Average session duration is pretty normal. All right, this browser checks out, right? Looking good. So I'm going to sort through and say, oh, okay, look at this one here. Opera Mini. Like, we don't have as much stuff going on here. This stuff doesn't look as good. And then this one is terrible. My Safari in-app. But once again, I look at this, and there's only 20 sessions here. So am I going to worry about that for 20 sessions out of 3,492? Like, it's really hard to judge. Like, it could have just been 2 people that just, like, accidentally landed on us or not. So I could look at Safari in-app if I was going to investigate this further. And then I can sort by a secondary dimension, and I could go down to behavior, and I could go to landing page. And these are the pages that they went to. And most of them are coming from my emails, email marketing stuff. Showing you how you can like go through. So those are people that are like my clients. Okie dokie. So I'm going to keep moving us forward because I have to get out of here. Got to go pick my daughter up from daycare. Okay, so I think that it should have been sent to you in an email. And if not, then I'll send it to you in an email. All right, so this is the different types of devices that people are using to view my website. I would look at this report and say, all right, well, 9.7% of the viewers on my site are using a mobile device, which for the amount of traffic on my site, I mean, there's 22,000 people coming to my site. That's a lot. That's still a lot of people. That's almost 2,000 people. So normally I'd be like, oh man, it's not 25%. But if, I mean, like, do I really want to alienate 2,000 people? That could be closed business, you know? So I probably shouldn't just pass that under the table. I should investigate it further. Note that the pages per session is lower. The amount of time on the site is less. The bounce rate is higher than on a desktop. So at this point, I need to investigate more, is what I would think. I'm not going to say I need a mobile site, but I'm not going to say I don't need one. And actually, I have one, and it went into effect like 3 months ago. And this is not, so it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? This isn't really an indicator of whether I need one or not now, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so, oops, didn't mean to do that. Give me back this thing. Okay. So you can see which mobile devices use your site. And here, once again, you're going to look and say, are there any mobile devices that are not acting nice because people are not behaving well on them? You know, not people, but, you know, the data isn't indicating that it's working well. So we already spoke about these things. And then we're back to our overview, talking about why we use analytics and how we can use the information to measure our marketing efforts and optimize performance and make good informed decisions.